Hello. For those who've never seen my photo or don't know, I'm Brandon Hill. Uh, I write these blogs, and I'm the author of Day Soldiers and The Men from Nuella. Uh, I've decided I'm going to start doing video blogs. I guess they're called vlogs because it's just easier. And to be honest, with all I've been going through, I don't have a whole lot of energy. I do want to keep folks updated, but my energy levels are pretty much in the gutter, so I've decided to try my hand at video blogs. And this is my first one. I'll try to keep it as short as I can, but since it's my very first one, it may run a little long. You may have to view it in a couple sittings. I don't mean like movie long, but more than 5 minutes. Uh, so like I said, I'm Brandon Hill. It's okay to make fun of my accent. I did born and raised in the hills of Southwest Virginia. I'm a mountain man, so my accent evidences that. So anyway, that's me, and that's where I am. I'll try to keep the length down by not repeating myself too much. And if you see me looking to the side occasionally, it's because I have some notes to keep myself on track, so I tend to ramble. I don't know if you've read my blogs, but I'm sure you know at this point that I tend to ramble. I tell myself it's a trait of being a writer, but the truth is it's a trait of being a rambler. So I'm going to start by giving you a little background to who I am and how I got where I am. Uh, about, I guess, 4 years ago or so, my wife Laura is my wife. You'll hear me talk about Laura a lot. To be honest, she is my world, and so you'll hear a lot of references to Laura. But about 4 years ago, Laura and I had just about as much as we could take of the rat race. This is not an insult to the places we work. The companies we work for were fine companies full of great people. It's just, I always knew that I would never be happy in that kind of environment, ever. No matter how long I worked there, I would never be happy. And really, the point to life is happiness. So I decided to do something crazy, very crazy. I went to Laura. Well, first I did a lot of research on how to make it as an independent author. I thought I had a plan that would work beautifully. So I went to Laura, I laid it out, and she told me first and foremost that she believes in my work and she believes in me. So she decided, hey, let's try it. She kept her job. I quit my job. Well, first we saved for about a year to be able to afford this, and we had enough savings to where we would give ourselves a year to get on track. And if it didn't work after a year, we would go back to the workplace. So I was the first one to quit to give me a head start on the books, and I wrote the first book, which was Day Soldiers. Took me a long time to decide which would be my first, and Day Soldiers landed, to be honest, because at the time vampires were popular. I'm obsessed with them. Have been since I was 12 years old. I'm not big on the fluffy romantic type vampires, but I do like the evil ones. I do like reading about Dracula. The first book that I ever remember reading was Salem's Lot. I read it when I was about 13. Scared the hell out of me, and stuck with me to this day. And so I decided, since I love the genre was popular at the time. My first book, I had dozens of outlines for books that I could have written, but I chose Day Soldiers because it would be fun, and it was kind of my Star Wars. It was this unrealistic story of heroes facing impossible odds and still pulling through, that kind of thing. And so I decided to write it. We wrote it, and Laura and I struggled. We struggled hard for about a couple years. We were barely squeaking by for about 2 years. We had to make a lot of concessions. We had to give up all vacations, all entertainment activities, basically, and we just focused on getting published. We'd reached a point where we were about to give up, to be honest, when another author, a friend of mine, offered up a strategy of making the first book free. So then all the risk is on the author, none of the risk is on the reader, and if the reader liked it, they could move on to books 2 and 3. So I made the first book free based on his advice to see what would happen, and sure enough, sales of books 2 and 3 skyrocketed. People apparently liked the first book enough to move on. So within a few months, we were rocking it. we were doing great. I was actually making more money than I was making as in my old job. I was actually making more money than Laura and I both together made in our other work. Now, we weren't rich. We were still poor by national standards. Hell, we were poor by Southwest Virginia standards. We couldn't go out and get a new car. We couldn't go, spend money wildly. But we were making a living doing something we loved. I was writing the books. She was editing. And over time, she was my manager. And over time, we both were rough at first, but over time we got better until eventually we were putting out pretty high quality material, and people were liking it. People were loving it. I was selling thousands of books a month, and we were just doing well. Now, we weren't making any New York Times bestseller lists or anything like that, but we were selling enough to pay the bills. Luckily, in Southwest Virginia, the cost of living is pretty low, so that worked to our advantage. So we did it. We made it. We had projected sales for the next year. We're looking like we were going to do just as well. I just had to get books 4 and 5 out of the series, and I started a new series called The Man from Nuella, which brought in some more money, and as long as I could crank out the books, we were doing well. We were doing fine, and we were, to be honest, celebrating our success. Most people didn't think we could do it, but we did it. Now, that was when the pain started. It was agonizing. I felt a pain, and okay, before I go on, let me say that I'm going to be talking about some stuff that's kind of embarrassing. I had colon cancer. Colorectal cancer, which means the cancer was in my colon, it was in my rectum, it had touched my bladder and my prostate. That means I'm going to be talking about some stuff that's going on in some embarrassing areas. If you're not a fan of that, you probably don't want to watch this vlog. If you're okay with that, I'm not going to show anything indecent, and I'm not going to say anything indecent. I am going to show you my bags, but they're not clear. You're not going to see any waste product. You're not going to see anything indecent. They're over top of clothes. So while I'm not showing anything that's going to be above rated PG, if you have a very, very weak stomach, you may not want to watch it, because it is 2 bags attached to my stomach. Anyway, not my stomach, but my stomach area. Anyway, the pain came, and it was the worst thing that I could have ever imagined in my life. I lied on the floor, basically crying all day, every day. I was in and out of consciousness from the pain. I just would lay on the floor and sob from the pain. It was, I'll tell you, I know that if I were being tortured to get some kind of national security information, I would have given it up to give it to stop. It was that bad. It was a nightmare. So we, of course, it wasn't easy, but we got me to an emergency room. That's when we met Dr. Dick. We call him that, well, we found out the nurses that called him that, but we call him that because the man was not pleasant. And I'm going to do a whole blog about my experience in that first emergency room, because it was insane, and the guy was, I'm not gonna mince words, the guy was a jerk. He was a jerk. He thought I was in there for drugs, and when he found out that I did in fact have cancer, he didn't ease up. He was an asshole. But he was the first person to tell me I may have cancer. Matter of fact, when I said, "Are you saying that I have cancer?" at one point he said, "I don't know, I'm not a surgeon," and then he left the room. He was that kind of guy. But we ended up making an appointment with a surgery. With a surgeon. The surgeon took a look. He scoped me, took a look, confirmed I had cancer, and it was bad. Very bad. Like, I'm probably going to die bad. This was about 2 years ago. And the pain, we tried for a while to manage the pain. All I could do was lie around and cry while Laura was back and forth between the doctors trying to get me surgeons, and she ended up getting in touch with some very high-ranking surgeons in Northern Virginia, about 6 hours from where we lived. We got an appointment to go see them. Now, I don't remember that appointment. By that point, I was mostly unconscious from the pain, or at the very least, my mind has blocked that out. I don't remember it at all. The first thing I remember is waking up in a hospital after having been in a coma for a week, and the doctor having had an emergency surgery to save my life. So yeah, I was in a coma for a week and experienced some pretty crazy things there. That's going to be another blog for another day, too, is what I experienced while I was in the coma, because Whether it was a dream or something more, it makes for an interesting story, so I'm going to share it. But again, that's just today's blog is just about getting acquainted, so that's one for another day as well. So the doctor saved my life with the surgery. Then I went through several months of chemo and radiation, very intensive chemo and radiation, to try to get the cancer down enough for them to do a second surgery to remove it. We eventually got to that point. This period of time in my life, I barely remember because of the pain. All I remember is pain, to be honest. And but we did go in for that second surgery, and it was an 8-hour surgery, and it was a crazy success. After they were done, they couldn't find any cancer anywhere in my body. Yay, we did it. So after that, we for about a year, I guess. I'm checking my notes again. Sorry. For about a year or so, we did great. No cancer, no chemo, no anything. I just had to survive with my new bags. He had put in, to save my life, he had put in an ileostomy bag, which takes care of number 2. But he also had to remove my bladder. So they put in a urostomy bag, which takes care of number 1. Now, in total, they ended up having to completely remove my colon, my bladder, my prostate, and my rectum. Rectum damn near killed him, yeah. I can't say the word rectum without having to say that. Rectum damn near killed him. See, I have to say it every time. It's a crazy thing. Anyway, so I had all of those done, and they placed those bags in instead. Now that's how I use the bathroom. I never downside. I don't get the feeling of relief from using the bathroom. I just check bags. If they're full, I empty them. Upside, I can pee on somebody without getting an indecent exposure charge because I don't have to disrobe. It's just taking off my stomach area. But anyway, as a matter of fact, I'll show you my bags. Now, for those who have extremely weak stomachs, now's the time to turn around because I'm going to show the bags. To be clear, the bags are tan colored. They're not see-through. You can't see what's in them. And they're on either side of my belly button, so there's no real indecent exposure happening here. But just to show that I'm not ashamed of what I got, I'll show you the bags. Let's pull this back some. Let's pull this down. Now, for starters, it's right in this area. Here is my ileostomy bag. Here's my urostomy bag. Now, have fun making fun of my big belly. I'm proud of it because there was a long time that I lost so much weight. I was about 138 pounds. I dropped from over 200 to 138 pounds. The chemo devastated me. It didn't just take my hair. It took a lot more. So I'm actually proud that I'm getting a pot belly back. So I have no shame there. But let's get up here and I'll show you. It's hard to see exactly. But these are the bags. This is my urostomy bag. This is my ileostomy bag. When the bags get full, I just stand over a toilet. I open the bag, empty, wipe it out, close it up. Empty, wipe it out, close it up. Simple. It's easy. And I'll tell you, they're great for camping because I don't have to find a bathroom. All I have to do is dig a hole and then stand over it. I don't have to take toilet paper. I don't have to worry about any of that. So there are plus sides to this life. And we learned to live this way. It was some adjustments, but we learned to live. We started getting our life back on track, and for about a year, things were good again. Then the cancer came back. I'm not gonna lie, it was devastating. My family was crushed, I was crushed, Laura was crushed. We didn't know what we would do. Now, the cancer is very small when it came back, and it was just in the lining of where the cancer used to be, the other cancer. So, luckily, the cancer was growing inward, and since I had all my organs removed, it didn't have anything to infect. So it's not as deadly as it could have been, although it is still life-threatening. Let's not play around there. It's cancer. So the doctors in the area here decided we're going to try about some more chemo and radiation, which leads us up to today. For the last 3 months, I gave you the short version, and I'll be breaking it up into detailed stories over the next month or so. But I just got done with about 3 months of chemo and radiation, and the chemo wreaked havoc on my body. Not only did I lose my hair, I lost some weight again. I swelled up like a blood-filled tick. My leg, my left leg, looked like a tree trunk. It swelled me up like there's no tomorrow. My skin got so dry that it started cracking open and bleeding on the tips of my fingers. I had a pain again. The pain was back and not fun. It actually affected my teeth. Now in the backs here, these teeth are broken. These teeth are broken, which means eating is a real treat. I'll tell you. But all of that was worth it if the chemo was going to work. We knew that it was for a greater purpose, and everything that was wrong with me could be fixed. I could get my teeth fixed. I could gain the weight back. My hair would grow back. So we did it, and we were proud to do it. Well, I just found out last week that the 3 months of chemo proved completely ineffective. It didn't bring down the chemo at all. I mean, it didn't bring down the cancer at all. As a matter of fact, I have cancer in 2 places down there now, and as a matter of fact, in one of the places, the cancer actually grew a little bit. Not much, but enough to be concerning, which left us with much fewer options. It's not the end. I'm not dying still. It's not over. I'm still gonna beat this. We're still getting through it just fine. Yay, 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 blah, blah, blah. But it does suck because we've got 2 paths we could take. Most likely, it's going to be more chemo. The kind of chemo they showed was ineffective, but they do have a different type of chemo that they're going to try on another round, and it has a history of when the previous chemo doesn't work, this kind does. So we're optimistic that these small cancers that I've got are going to be knocked out by this third kind of chemo. Now, that said, we are also exploring the option of surgery. It's unlikely that you'll find a surgeon that would operate on somebody like me, but the surgeons that took care of me the first time, these guys are rock stars. They take chances when other surgeons won't. So I have an appointment Monday with the doctor, and we're going to talk to her about getting in contact with the surgeons that did the first operations to see if surgery is possible. If surgery is possible, that's what I would prefer. If surgery is not an option, then we go into more chemo. It's going to suck, but again, the price is worth it. And that leads me to today. The reason Day Soldiers Book 5, which is the final book in the series, by the way, the reason Day Soldiers Book 5 is not out yet is I've been intentionally holding back because I don't want the book to suffer because of what I'm going through. And the chemo does kind of muddy my brain. It doesn't make me that clear. It makes it harder for me to think, which is another reason that I'm doing a video blog instead of writing one. But and I don't want that to affect the last book in a series that I've put my heart into. So we've got books 1, 2, 3, and 4. Book 5 is about half done, and the rest of it is outlined. So what we're going to do is once we find out the next step, that's when I'm going to determine when I'm going to finish up Day Soldiers Book 5. Hopefully it'll be soon. Please don't give up on me. It's going to happen. Now, what do I need from you folks? I need vibes. Please. I don't want to get into the muddy details, but I'll explain in another blog. But the last time when I was in a coma, there were literally hundreds of people praying for me all at the same time. Some were praying. I have a lot of friends who are religious, and they were praying. I have a lot of friends who don't believe in God, and they were just sending me good vibes and all the best energy they could send, which deeply appreciated. Everybody was basically sending me what good vibes they have, and I can tell you, I'll explain how in the next blog, but I can tell you I believe it helped. I believe it's what pulled me out of my coma, to be honest. So please, if you've got it in your heart, send us good vibes. We need it. But I don't want you to feel worried. This first chemo doesn't always work. That's why they have the second kind. They have the harder chemo to hit me when this lesser chemo doesn't work, and that's where we've moved to. And this should do it. I dread it, but this should do it. This should take care of it, and then I'll be back to myself again in no time, and this is all just going to be a bad memory. But that's basically it. It's got you caught up. Yeah, this was about a 20-minute blog, so I do apologize for the amount of time that it's taken. Now, I end all of my blogs saying I love you all. I want you to know that that's not just a platitude. That's not just a salutation. I mean it. I mean it. Love is a powerful thing, and I refuse to embrace anything else. And it's you guys, the people who read this blog, the people who buy my books, the family and friends who supported me through this. You guys are the strong ones. You guys are the ones that's pulled me through it. All I've had to do is lay around and let the doctors fight cancer for me. You guys have been giving me the strength to do that. So when I say I love you all, I mean it. I love you all more than you could ever imagine. It's so powerful that it almost counteracts the pain from all of this chemo, and that's the truth. But anyway, that's me in a nutshell. My next blog will hopefully be a lot more fun. Some of them are going to be about the cancer, obviously, and some of them are just going to be my usual silly blogs. I might do a movie review or two, that kind of thing, but I am going to do more video blogs. So you guys take care, love each other, have fun, laugh as much as you can possibly laugh, because that is the single most valuable thing on this earth, with the possible exception of love itself. So laugh a lot and love a lot. I know that's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. You guys take care, and I love y'all.